Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to our new video, our podcast video.
Yay.
Today I'm sitting down with Andrea, the inspiring owner of Ubuntu Bali. Ubuntu is an ecologic yoga retreat in Canggu. And we will dive into your life as a single woman in Bali, what inspires you and her dreams she is pursuing in her work and personal life. Let's start with our first question. Do you want to tell me a little bit about your childhood and where you grew up?
Okay. So I grew up in Sweden. I was born to Hungarian parents and had a very nice childhood. My parents made sure that I was active quite early on. I started ice skating when I was 2 years old, and then that kept going throughout the years. I always had activities during the week after school. So I played football and soccer, as we say.
Very active girl.
And very what?
Active.
Active,
Yeah.
yes. And I was very, like I had different activities that I would engage into for a while, and then I try something new. So I was not very consistent with anything other than soccer. That was my preferred one, I guess. And dancing, I had a period, and then I came back to it later in my teens as well. So I started with ballet, and then I was doing jazz dance later on in my teens. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that was my childhood. And yeah.
Okay. And how did you end up in Bali, and what made you decide to stay?
So I had been to Bali well, I came first time 1997, and I guess I was captured by her beauty and really liked it here. And then at one point in my life in 1999, I was, well, homeless sounds a bit dramatic, but I didn't have a base. I didn't have a job at the time. I had just finished a ski season in Switzerland. And so I was looking for a new base, and looking for a new idea on how to reinvent my life. And I came to Bali on a holiday. And then as I was here, I was like, okay, there's so much beautiful interior stuff that you can buy and furniture. And so my idea was to export from here to Europe. And so yeah, I came here, investigated, took a lot of photos and prices, found distributors, or actually the source itself where they make it. And almost settled here in 1999. But then life took a different turn, and I decided not to stay in the end. So yeah, that was 1999. And then I went to Mysore in 2009, and I kept hearing Bali, Bali, and this Bali and that Bali. And I'm like, I think Bali is calling me. And I was living in Barcelona, and I'd already lived there for 10 years then. And I was kind of ready to leave the city life. I didn't really want to be in a city anymore. And then shortly thereafter, I came back from India, and I met Damien, who was my then partner. So Damien was definitely not into living in a city, but he stayed on because of our relationship. But we decided, okay, where do we go? We want to leave. And then I'm like, look, Bali keeps calling me. And so why don't we try Bali? And then things just happened. Like, it came into a flow, really. put it out there that we're gonna head for Bali. And then Damien had a friend who lived here, and he was practicing with Prem and Radha up in Ubud, and they had just started their yoga program up there, and they needed someone to cover because they were going to Hawaii. So we fell up on a job straight away. We had an opportunity there, and so we like, okay, let's pack up and leave.
Okay.
Yeah, and here we are.
Yeah.
Almost 15 years later.
What would you say was your biggest motivation to create Ubuntu?
So I think from early on, I pretty much my whole working life worked in the service industry, and I wanted to develop myself within that. My dream was to eventually have like a little guest house, and so I kind of kept working in the industry so that I could gain more experience. And then as I started practicing yoga, I'm like, oh, maybe my guest house will be a yoga retreat. And so Damien and I were like kind of dreaming this up as we were planning our future. And so it was a dream that took shape. I started drawing it, I started writing it, and then we landed here 2010, and 2013 we started our first business here, which was pretty much what Ubuntu offers, and that was Samadhi Bali. So yeah, we wanted to share our lifestyle. I would say that was maybe the main motivation, like share our yoga, but also be able to invite people from abroad to come and stay with us, and
that community.
Yeah. Samadhi and Ubuntu has always been driven by the idea of creating community.
Nice. And what inspires you every day in your work and life here?
So I think to really go back to your previous question, it kind of is related to this question, which is I feel that it's important for us all to find our own true calling and our own true being. I think we've been programmed and schooled to be something that maybe we're not truly are. I mean, I have a lot of friends who went to study something because the parents told them, or society is very money driven, so maybe they choose something where they could eventually earn a lot of money. So I feel it's important for us to listen to our heart and be authentic. And I really feel like yoga can bring that out. So watching the students as they emerge into yoga and how they change, they shift. So I've seen people who've been very introvert, very shy, and then with the years of yoga, like starting to really bloom and gain confidence and and being the true person they want to be. So I think being around people who are committed to this path of making the best version of themselves is really inspiring to me. And I've gained lots of friends by teaching the students who become friends, and then they become my inspiration, and we kind of support each other along this path. That's not always so easy.
No. Did you made a lot of friends here in Bali?
Yes. Yeah. And since also, I mean, there are friends who live here. They're permanent. Some have left. Some have come back. There's people who come to visit. So maybe I've just met them once and then they left, but we stay in touch. And so there's all sorts of people coming and going, but for sure you get exposed to a lot of people. In this.
The culture is here very like social. You really feel that in Bali.
Yeah. I think also being away from home and being in an environment where a lot of us are very far from our families, so you tend to create your own family.
Yeah.
So that's really what I feel that I have here.
Yeah. Sounds beautiful. And what does it mean for you to live here as a single woman in Bali in this environment? What are like maybe some challenges, and what do you find like most liberating?
What is most irritating? All these other beautiful women.
No, I meant liberating. Sorry.
Oh, liberating.
But now I know what you meant.
Not competitive at all. As a single woman in Bali, well, first of all, I feel very safe here.
Yeah.
I never felt like I was in danger by any means. And nowhere really where I lived, I'd never felt in danger. But there are places that it can be more challenging for a woman to be by herself. And so that's been very sort of easy in that sense. And I think that, being a single woman in Bali.
Do you feel like sometimes it's a challenge to be single?
Yeah, I think that, culturally also, like, so especially when me being in business, being a businesswoman, sometimes I feel that men want to talk to men and not to a woman. So that I've noticed. So that can be a bit challenging at times. So that's when I'm like, okay, Damien, talk to this person. I give up. And then of course, there's about, I would say, at least 70% women here in relating to men, and much younger as well. So I think there's a lot of young women here, yet along men. So being a single in Bali at my age, my young age as well, of course, but is maybe that, it's not so easy to find someone, who matches my lifestyle, because I have a very tricky schedule. I get up very early in the morning, so I go to bed very early. So that can be a little bit of a challenge, socially speaking. But in the weekends, I try to really break my routine and live a normal life, or on holidays. But I think Bali has shifted a lot. There's a lot of more younger people here, and then the people my age, they tend to have families, and if they're recently divorced or not with their partners anymore, maybe they want to have more fun, and there's a lot of ladies available for that. And maybe I mean, it's good to have fun, but maybe I'm not at that point in my life where I'm just looking for that. Yeah.
But then you're like...
So if there is any eligible young men out there...
Come in the comments.
Send your application.
Is there something about like the Balinese culture as well that changed your perspective on relationships?
On the relationship of what?
Yeah, of like life as a single woman?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
No, I don't think that would have had any impact. No.
Okay. Okay. And what do you like to do most of the time in the weekends?
Well,
not working.
Networking. No, I tend to get out of Canggu. So because my life is very kind of routine driven, I really need change. I need new environments, and so I need like that inspiration as well.
Mhm.
And I have friends who live here that are very close to me. So I have a very dear friend of mine who's like my soul sister down in Uluwatu, and then a few soul sisters in Ubud. So I tend to go and hang with them in the weekends. Yeah, or I go up into the mountains and go get lost up there, go for a walk in the forest, or go to Nusa Lembongan and chill on the beach. I mean, Bali is so diverse. There's so much to see and do here. So one can really entertain oneself. Yeah.
And how do you like really recharge and find balance when life feels overwhelming or too busy sometimes?
Nature. I mean, I do need alone time as well. I'm very social. I like to be surrounded by friends, and I like to meet new people as well, of course. But at times when I'm feeling overwhelmed and quite drained, then I tend to go up into the mountains, or Nusa Lembongan. Those are my 2 recharge stations, where I'm just taking in the sea or the forest.
Okay. And what has been like one of the most defining moments in your life that shaped who you are today?
First of all, my mother, bless her, she really understood me early on. She understood that I was a very free spirit. I needed to be out and about and play, and you couldn't lock me up. Like, and so I was always out in the streets and exploring and playing. And so I became independent quite early on. I started my first little business when I was probably 4 or 5, selling flowers to the elderly. And that allowed me to buy candy. And so I created an independence, very early. And I was a single child until I was 12. So, I had to kind of entertain myself somehow.
Then you get like a stepbrother or something?
Yeah, I have 3. I have 3 half brothers. So, and then I think experience, really, like creating a life where I've gained experience. I've lived in now 12 different countries. So, and it was all kind of, the idea was to travel, explore, learn new languages, learn about cultures. So that was my vision from very early on. So I think it's more of a series of events that shaped who I am today.
Okay. And what's something most people don't know about you that might surprise them?
Wow, that's a tough question.
Yeah, we can also come back to that question.
I think I'm an open book.
There will be something.
I don't know. I like to sing and dance.
When you're alone or also with people?
Both. I mean, dancing, but also both. Singing, also both. I like to use my voice. I like to write poetry. I would like to write in general. I like to write, but not very regular with it. I have my periods of writing.
And where do you write about when you're writing?
What do I write about? Emotions. When they are swinging up or down, then I like to write about them.
Nice.
Other than that, I think I'm a pretty open book. Maybe not so surprising to a lot of people.
What are like the greatest lessons you've learned from running a yoga retreat?
Choose your partners well.
You had a good partner.
Now I do. And in the past, I would say having partners. I have had several businesses, and I think it's important to know what values the other person has and what their vision is, so that we all are on board on that. Be prepared to work a lot. Lesson number 1. No one's gonna sort out your shit. You have to do it yourself. No matter how great of a team you have, you will always need to be there when it gets sticky. What other lessons? I think a lesson that I'm still working on is to be patient, because it takes time to grow a business, and it's a process. It's like a child or a plant. You have to nourish it in order for it to grow, and it doesn't just happen like that. So those are a few things that I would say that I have learned as I walk on this path. And maybe having a business in Indonesia, working with locals, has also been a big lesson for me. There's a big cultural change, not cultural change, it's a big cultural difference. Well, that is a change for me. Sometimes I struggle to understand where they are coming from. There's maybe communication, and also me not being fluent in the language. More maybe work ethics, or avoiding to express things that maybe is not so easy to express. So I find that in the past that some of my staff would just simply not say anything, and then like, what happened?
It's important to communicate well.
So the cultural differences can be
challenging
sometimes challenging, but definitely continuous growth.
That's nice. Okay. What would you tell your younger self, or a girl like me from 22, as like a wise lesson or a life slogan?
Younger self? I'm 22 too. Always. I would say that I think it's important to follow your heart and do what feels right. Don't try to please others because you don't want to be seen as bad or not, doing what other people might expect from you. So I think it's important to do what is right for you. Someone once told me, be self-full, meaning being selfish, right? But being self-full, because you are here to take care of yourself first. And then from that fullness, from that overflow is where you take care of others.
Beautiful.
Be authentic.
That's where Ubuntu stays for also, right?
Exactly. Well, Ubuntu, it's one of our statements, but not the meaning of the actual word. The meaning of the word is I am because you are. But definitely that's our mission, is to bring out authenticity in people, to follow their heart.
Do you have still have like a big dream for the future, for Ubuntu, for yourself?
I have big dreams. Being a Pisces, I always have dreams.
Are you a daydreamer as well?
I am a big time daydreamer. Ask my friend. But I also believe that it's from our dreams that we create. So my dream for Ubuntu is that this becomes a place where people can come meet like-minded people who are also on the same path of self-development, working on themselves, and this to be like an educational platform, how to live holistically, sustainably, and how to support one another. I think there's a lot of focus on the individual, especially in the West, where here in Bali we learn a lot about how to take care of the community and support one another. And I think we all have a lot to learn from that. So that is definitely one of my big dreams. And bringing in other teachers that have amazing things to share. So yeah, a lot of dreams.
Yeah.
And as far as my dreams for myself, well, I'm dreaming that Ubuntu is gonna be in a flow of abundance, and that I will have more time for myself, because I feel a lot of my time right now is to take care of Ubuntu, like being a mother of a young child, waiting for them to grow up so you can have the babysitter. And eventually they're independent. But yeah, my dream is to focus more on my creativity, my artistic side, and tap more into my artist, and yeah, have more time basically to do all the things that I love. And I am still doing it, but not to the extent that I would like to at this very moment.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for all your answers.
Thank you for your questions.
Yes. And thank you for everybody for watching. For our first podcast.
Yeah.
More to come.
We did it.
Yay. Bye bye.
More to come.